This video is brought to you in collaboration with WoWhead.com. Hello everyone! Here's my story of Illidan Stormrage in its full glory. A video series I started 9 years ago and updated into the current year 2024. A big thank you once again to WoWhead for sponsoring this video, as well as adding a summarized article version of the story that we're about to dive into. So say that you want to read up on a shortened version or just dive into some of the more details on your own time, check out the related WoW article in the description down below. And with that, all that's left to say is sit back, relax, I hope you'll enjoy.
In truth, it was I who was betrayed.
Hello everyone! The story of Illidan Stormrage is a big one, and part of his story, the War of the Ancients, has been altered by time travel. That means that some events changed, so we have multiple versions of a story. So I've been asking around, and apparently the recollection of the War of the Ancients trilogy is the version best to go with. So to understand the story, let me first explain how the trilogy begins. Sometime after Warcraft 3, the bronze dragon Nosdormu got caught in a time anomaly, and it took everything of his power to save the world from being destroyed by this vortex. This meant that he was trapped, and he desperately made contact with the red dragon Kil'jaeden, also known as Crusade, and he sent him visions of what was going on and that he needed help. Crusade realized that he would need some help with this mission, so he recruited his old friend Ronan to help him out. This time anomaly did not go unnoticed, and even the Horde realized that something was going on. A shaman named Kalfar, he told Thrall about a vision he had, and Thrall sent Broxigar together with Geskal to investigate the situation. As the orcs made their way, they saw a dragon in the sky, and they expected that this had something to do with the visions, so they decided to follow it. What they didn't know was that this would lead them straight to the anomaly, which by this time had turned into a massive vortex. Ronan and Crusade, they were already sucked up by it, and slowly it made its way towards Broxigar. Broxigar told his companion to run, but Geskal decided to hide between the rocks, and the outside of the vortex utterly destroyed him. Broxigar did all he could to run away, but he too was sucked up and sent back 10,000 years into the past, to a time where Queen Azshara and the Highborn ruled the Night Elves and were dabbling with magic beyond their understanding. This magical power was granted to them by the Well of Eternity, and by messing around with it, they drew the attention from the Burning Legion and their master Sargeras himself. Sargeras wanted to come to Azeroth to conquer it, like he had conquered many planets before, and Azshara was exhilarated. She saw the coming of Sargeras as a way to make the world as perfect as she was, and she was willing to do anything necessary to make this happen. Her advisor Xavius was the one who had made first contact with Sargeras, and he was put on the task to empower the portal and get Sargeras to Azeroth. That's the background of the story, and this brings us to Illidan. Illidan Stormrage, twin brother of Malfurion Stormrage, grew up together with his brother and Tyrande Whisperwind in the Night Elf Society. Illidan, unlike his brother, was born with amber eyes, and at the time, this was seen by the Night Elves as a sign that a person was destined for greatness. Even with these eyes, Illidan had a lot of trouble finding his destiny, while Tyrande Whisperwind, their longtime friend, she had found her calling with the Priest of Elune. Even his brother Malfurion had found his destiny under the teachings of the demigod Cenarius, who showed him the way of the Druids. Illidan tried to follow the same path, but he never had the patience for it. He preferred the ancient way of his people, the way of the arcane, powers granted to the Night Elves by the Well of Eternity. Crusade, Ronan and Broxigar entering this time period did not go unnoticed. Xavius had his troops scout for Ronan and Crusade, while Broxigar was captured by the Moonguard, placed in a cage and put on display until the elders had decided what to do with him. Tyrande saw Broxigar in his cage, and she saw that food had been given to him, but someone his size surely would require more substance. The guards told her that there was no order given to feed the prisoner, and that it was a bad idea, but Tyrande, she believed that giving food or a drink should not require an order. Illidan saw her giving this food to Brox and talking with him, and he lashed out. He shot a spell that burned the flesh from Broxigar's fingers, since Illidan thought that Tyrande was in danger. This was not the case, of course. Broxigar could hardly move in his cage, and Tyrande was pissed. She told Illidan to turn around and step away so she could heal Broxigar's fingers. Elune granted her this gift. She healed the wounds, but doing this left her drained. She told Illidan that she would rejoin her sisters, and she left him behind. Now it was Illidan who was pissed. For hours he had waited outside the temple to talk with Tyrande, to tell her about his feelings for her, and his moment was ruined. He became so angry that Broxigar's cage flared red and the orc began to scream in pain. Luckily Illidan managed to regain control and he removed his spell that he had cast, and it was even more fortunate that the guards had protected Broxigar's cage with their own spells. If they hadn't done that, then Illidan's fury would have slain the orc. Malfurion's training as a druid, as well as having strange dreams about the palace, had him believe that something was up, that something was going on, and it wouldn't be for the better of their people. When Tyrande showed him Brox, and Brox told him his story, he realized that Brox coming to their world had something to do with his dreams and what was going on at the palace. The elves would interrogate Broxigar the very next day, so Malfurion had to act fast to get the orc free. He asked his brother for help, and Illidan agreed, although Malfurion believed that it wasn't really to help his twin brother, but mostly because Tyrande had asked him. Illidan could never refuse Tyrande, and he used his magic to unlock the cage and free the orcs from his chains. They planned on leaving Illidan and Tyrande behind so that they couldn't be blamed for the orcs' escape, but things didn't go exactly as planned. Lord Ravencrest, master of Blackrock Hold, he was on a mission to find Broxigar and bring him back. He recognized Illidan, and he knew that Illidan had studied the arts of magic, but he was not part of the Moon Guards. This meant that he was not restricted by the oaths that all Moon Guards have to take, and that he could be loyal to Ravencrest, so he asked Illidan if he would be willing to join him on this hunt. In truth, Illidan could hardly refuse an order from such a high-standing lord, but helping him could endanger his own brother. Nonetheless, Illidan joined with a plan to please Ravencrest, while at the same time keeping his brother out of jail. Being noticed by such a high lord as Ravencrest is a big deal, and Illidan wanted to prove himself. He got that shot when they came across a group of butchered night elves. Unknown to them was that the Houndmaster Hakar had sent his own fellhounds to hunt. Fellhounds are capable of draining magic out of living beings, and the hounds that had taken out this group, they were still around. One of them attacked Ravencrest, disarmed him and was about to take his life, but Illidan used his magic to enchant the blade and kill the demon. This earned him praise from Ravencrest, and as they returned to town, Illidan was full of pride about his achievement. He thought that he had finally found his destiny serving Ravencrest, and he was so excited to tell his story that he didn't see Tyrande's horror and fear as he told about the dead bodies they'd found. He kissed Tyrande's hands and he told her that he wanted to be worthy of her, and soon he would be. What happened next was that Malfurion and Broxigar, they reached Malfurion's teacher Sargeras, and there they teamed up with Ronan. Crassus had earlier been teleported away to his fellow dragons, so he didn't join this little group. As they planned to travel to Malfurion's house, they were surrounded by night elves, captured, taken to Ravenhold, where they infiltrated Malfurion's mind and extracted the truth. They saw his visions, his dreams, his doubts towards the queen, but they simply couldn't believe it. They loved their queen Sargeras so much that they just flat out refused to believe that she would do anything to hurt them. Instead, they laid the blame at the Highborn and her advisor Savius, who they'd never trusted. The Night Elves took up arms and they prepared to rescue their queen, while at the palace they were still trying to summon Sargeras. They had managed to summon lesser demons, but for some reason the portal just wouldn't get strong enough. It was Queen Azora who came up with the idea to seal the Well of Eternity from all the other Night Elves and focus its powers on the portal. This left the Moon Guard and all the other Night Elves nearly powerless, but Illidan was still capable of casting spells, while Ronan nearly didn't feel the effect at all. He was from a different time period, so he knew how to draw magic out of the world itself, and Illidan was drawn to him. Malfurion had Sargeras as his Shan'do, his teacher, and now Illidan had found Ronan to take him to the next level of his craft. Now, in order to even have a fighting chance against the Legion, Malfurion realized that he would have to destroy the portal and open the Well of Eternity to the rest of his people. He used the Emerald Dream to infiltrate the palace, and he did his best, but Xavius had magical eyes capable of seeing Malfurion even in the Emerald Dream. He captured Malfurion's spirit in a magical bottle, while they continued to work on the portal. The Night Elves, led by Ravencrest, they fought valiantly against the demons, but the Moon Guard were not up to the task. Illidan saw how their leader was foolishly spreading their power, while he thought that they should just focus what little magic they had and direct it into powerful spells. He took command of the Moon Guard, had them placed in a position to amplify their magic, and he did terrible damage to the demons. Dark tentacles slashed them in two, the earth beneath their feet rumbled, and several burst into flames. Illidan looked to Ronan for his approval, and Ronan gave him a nod, but he realized that he would have to keep an eye on Illidan. Illidan had great potential, but his recklessness was a trap that could create of him a danger in its own way as deadly as the Burning Legion. Ronan would try to do his best to guide Illidan and make sure that his great deeds would be for the greater good. While they were fighting the Legion, Malfurion was still trapped. Crassus had found his way back to Broxagar and Tyrande while they were guarding Malfurion's body. He made contact with Malfurion's spirit and told him to find a possible weakness that he could exploit and use to escape. Malfurion had already searched for such a weakness, of course, but he had been unable to find it. Now he had Crassus backing up, a dragon, so he searched around, saw a minor crack in the spell, and he used it to escape. He then faced off against Xavius himself, and by combining his strength with Crassus, Broxagar, Tyrande, Azeroth itself, he managed to defeat the High Counselor and open up the well. This action did not only empower the magic wielders, all Night Elves were connected to the well, and as its powers were released, they were invigorated. A final push set the demons on the retreat, but they didn't have enough strength left to push them back to the capital. For leading the Moonguard, Illidan was made the official leader, and although the day had been won, the war was far from over. The day was won by the Night Elves, but the portal was restored, and Sargeras was pissed about their failure. He had already sent 2 powerful minions, Hakar and Manoroth, but apparently that wasn't enough. It was time to bring out the big guns, so he sent his Lieutenant Archimonde to lead the army and get him to Azeroth. Xavius was destroyed by Malfurion near the portal, and his spirit was taken by Sargeras. Failing the master does not come without a price, and it felt like Xavius had felt endless agony. However, Sargeras can also grant second chances, and he decided to improve and reform Xavius. Piece by piece he reformed the former Highborn, creating the first of the Satyrs, set on a mission to convert more to be like him and to serve Sargeras. At the Night Elf camp, they kept on fighting the Legion as they were trying to reach Zinazari and their queen. One moment they were pushing the Legion back, at another moment they were pushed back themselves. Crassus realized that they simply needed more help, so he wanted to reach the dragons. Together with Malfurion, they flew away on griffins, while the dragons themselves already hatched a plan to save the world. Neltharion the Earth Warden had convinced his fellow aspects to surrender a portion of their power and placed it within the Dragon Soul.
It is done. All have given that which must be given. I now seal the Dragon Soul forever.
That terrible glow. Should that be?
For it to be as it must, yes.
It is a weapon like no other. It must be like no other.
With this powerful device, they could rid the world of the Legion, but what they didn't know was that Neltharion was listening to the whispers of the old gods. They had made him paranoid and convinced him that he couldn't trust anyone and that he should rule the world. With Malfurion away, Illidan realized that Tyrande should be his. His brother's actions had made it clear that he wasn't capable of protecting Tyrande like Illidan could, with his crazy ideas of preferring nature over good old magic, and Illidan tried to convince Tyrande to choose him. But Tyrande had already made her choice. She loved Malfurion, and she was appalled by Illidan's words. How could he speak about his brother in such a way, after everything Malfurion had done for them? Disappointed, insulted and ashamed, Illidan stepped away and he tried to make peace with Tyrande's choice. But Xavius wouldn't let him. From the shadows he whispered to Illidan dark thoughts about how life could be if Malfurion was gone. How Illidan and Tyrande could be together if perhaps something during the battle would happen to his twin.
Never. Not my brother. Never.
At first, Illidan is disgusted by his own dark thoughts, but the seeds of doubt were planted, and Xavius knew that he had Malfurion's brother. Illidan resumed command of the Moonguard, and as the battle raged on, he became more and more careless with his spells. In his recklessness, he finally slipped up and he killed his own people. Ronan saw this happen with his own eyes, and he was about to confront Illidan about this, but up in the sky, the dragons had arrived. At first, it looked like Neltharion's plan worked wonders, since the powers of the Dragon Soul decimated the Legion's lines. But then, his madness took over. He used the disc not only against the demons, but also against the Night Elves and even his fellow dragons. Using the Demon Soul, as they would now start to call it, did not come without a price, and Deathwing's madness started to show on the outside. This forced him to retreat and fix himself, while the Legion and the Night Elves, they had the pleasure of fighting over who would serve him in his new world. This attack brought chaos to the battlefield, and Tyrande found herself stuck between her allies and the enemy. Malfurion dragged her away to a safer spot, only to stand face to face with his old enemy, Xavius. During all this chaos, Ronan was commanded by Ravencrest to seize command over the Moon Guards. Illidan was killed, but they needed order at this moment, not the mayhem that he unleashed. Ronan told Illidan to step away, and of course this was extremely insulting. And to add more salt to the wound, he told Illidan to make contact with his brother. Illidan had believed that his destiny was to be together with Tyrande, but that had proven false. Then he thought that serving Ravencrest was his fate, but again he was mistaken. Now he had to figure out where exactly he belonged, but first he did what Ronan asked of him. He made contact with his twin, who was in the middle of a battle with Xavius. Xavius taunted Malfurion, told him how he had manipulated Illidan by using the little love triangle, and Malfurion was shocked by this. He had not realized that Tyrande had chosen him, and the shock was so great that for a moment he forgot about Illidan. Illidan heard Malfurion's thoughts, and the dark thoughts, his jealousy took over. Despite Tyrande about to be kidnapped by the satyrs, despite his own twin brother pleading with him to help him, Illidan disconnected himself from Malfurion's mind and left them to their fates. Tyrande would be kidnapped, despite Malfurion turning Xavius into a tree, and his grief over Tyrande unleashed his potential powers hidden deep inside. A massive torrential storm forced the Legion to back off, while Illidan, he captured one of the fell beasts, turned it into his mount, and rode off to the palace. If he didn't belong with Tyrande, if he didn't belong with Ravencrest, then perhaps his destiny could be found by allying with the Highborn, the Queen, and the Burning Legion. Illidan made his way to the palace, killing any demon that dared to stand in his way. They've never gone into details as to how Illidan got his hands on the twin blades of Azzinoth, but if I had to place it somewhere in the story, then this would be the moment. What we do know for certain is that Illidan, he fought with a Doomguard called Azzinoth, won the battle and took his blades. When Illidan finally arrived at the palace, he didn't come empty-handed. He had knowledge and he had power. First, he strengthened the portal and he made contact with Sargeras. His plan was to track the demon soul with a black dragon scale that he picked up from the battlefield, and they would use the artifact to strengthen the portal and bring Sargeras into Azeroth. News of the devastating power unleashed on the battlefield had reached even Sargeras, and he saw how this plan could work. As a reward for Illidan's loyalty, Sargeras granted him a gift, something that will mark him as being loyal to Sargeras, while also helping him with this mission. The soft tissue was seared instantly. Illidan's screams echoed throughout the chamber, and likely well beyond the palace walls. All trace of arrogance had left his expression. There was only agony, pure and unadulterated. Illidan fell to the floor, and Sargeras told Manoroth to have Illidan sent to rest, and when he was rested, he began his task to get the demon soul. Manoroth still didn't trust Illidan, and Sargeras, he was no fool. He told Vadofan, captain of the High Guard, to join Illidan and make sure that the Night Elf fulfilled his mission. When Illidan woke up, he found himself in the presence of 3 beautiful highborn females, and one of them was Lady Vush. She was busy with washing him, and she offered him a blindfold to cover his new eyes. When Illidan tried to look at the world for the first time, he almost went mad. Bright colors and shapes attacked him, but he remembered Ronan's words, that focus is the key, so Illidan used his willpower and forced himself to see. The mark granted by Sargeras gave him new sight, and he could now see the magic in the world. He had also gained dark tattoos which amplified his powers, and he could see how powerful the Highborn around him were. Lady Vush was the most powerful among them, but she was nothing compared to Queen Azshara. Illidan always imagined that Azshara had need of her Highborn to do magic for her, but as she entered the room, he could see that he was wrong. She had not become queen just with her looks. Azshara was powerful in her own right. She'd even tried to hypnotize Illidan with her magic, as she had done with so many others before him, but Illidan saw what she was doing and he resisted. Together with Vadofan, he went on his mission to collect the demon soul, while Malfurion and the rest of the resistance, they realized that they wouldn't stand a chance unless the dragons returned to help. The dragons could not risk showing themselves in public as long as Deathwing held the demon soul, so Malfurion entered the Emerald Dream once again. In the dream, he was able to find Deathwing and the location where he was hiding the demon soul. Despite all odds, Malfurion and the rest actually managed to get their hands on the disc, but outside they were captured by Illidan and Vadofan. Illidan managed to get his hands on the disc, but he lost his brother and Brox since they were saved by Corialstras. This was just a minor victory though, since Illidan still had the demon soul and he delivered it to Sargeras. There was a bit of a debate as to who would actually wield the disc to amplify the portal, and this part was crucial for Illidan's plans. Illidan was actually a double agent, trying to save the world by turning the portal into a maelstrom, which would suck all the demons from Azeroth and stop the Legion's invasion. To do this, he would have to be the one to wield the disc, but Sargeras had other plans. He himself would create the portal, which would allow him to conquer the planets, and he told them to bring the disc to the Well of Eternity itself. For the first time, Illidan's confidence in himself and in his plan diminished slightly, but not all was lost. He could still manipulate the portal, but something unexpected happened before he had the chance. Several Highborn did not agree with Azshara's choices, and they didn't believe that bringing Sargeras into our world was for the greater good. In secret, they had been working against their queen, weakening the portal, and now they had decided to break Tyrande out of her prison and join the resistance. Led by Davramar Sunstrider, they charged out of the palace, but Tyrande was picked up from her mount by a Doomguard. High in the sky, she managed to grab her sword and stab the demon, which released her from his grasp, but also had her plummeting to the ground. She would have probably died in that very moment, was it not for Illidan, who used his magic to save her life. He told her about his plans, he showed her one of the vials that he had filled with power from the well, and he poured the vast magical powers over himself.
Wait, I have an idea.
Illidan, what is in that vial? What are you doing?
What our people could not. Yes. I can feel the raw power of the Well of Eternity. It is time to end this charade!
This was strictly forbidden, not even the Highborn would have dared to do this, but Illidan saw himself better than them. He tried to manipulate the portal, tried to fulfill his plans, but a dark aura surrounded him. The old gods, who actually wanted Sargeras to enter our world so that they could escape, they guided Illidan's spell work and empowered the portal. Tyrande desperately tried to warn him, but Illidan had placed a spell on her, which prevented her from talking, so the damage was done. The portal was not reversed, instead it was amplified, and Sargeras was that much closer to set foot on land. In the meantime, the dragons they showed up again and they carried Malfurion and the others to the Well of Eternity. Broxigar sacrificed himself to buy them all some time, while Deathwing showed up and tried to reclaim his item. Like I said, the old gods wanted this to happen, so they did everything in their power to stop Deathwing from getting his paws on the disc.
It is too powerful!
How dare you touch my creation? It is mine! Mine!
Navarian! What have you done? You have doomed us all to the madness of the old gods!
It's mine!
He is lost to our system. He is no
The power of the soul is tearing him apart!
I will not be denied!
The old gods protect the soul.
Despite the spell nearly tearing him apart, Deathwing manages to get his paws on the disc, only to be slapped by the old gods. He loses his grip on the artifact, is sent far away, while the disc is caught by Malfurion. Malfurion then makes a mental connection with Tyrande, and when he found out that Illidan was near her, he nearly killed his brother in a moment of fury. He quickly regained control though, and soon enough Illidan and Tyrande were under attack by demons. Malfurion could sense this of course, he could see it through Tyrande's mind, but he was sitting on top of Ysera, so there was nothing he could do. Desperately, he wished to be there to help them, and before he knew it, the power of the demon soul made it so. Simultaneously, he was sitting on top of Ysera together with Illidan, while also being down on the ground fighting demons with Illidan and Tyrande. He knew that they had to do something about the portal, otherwise all would be lost, so together with Illidan they become one with the foul disc, and they try to manipulate the portal. Old gods are not easily defeated, and they whispered through the disc, trying to manipulate them. Malfurion almost fell to the whispers, but he quickly regained control, while Illidan completely surrendered to the promises of the gods. His brother Malfurion managed to snap him out of it, and together they reversed the portal, which started to suck all the demons back to the twisting nether. The great sundering which would split the land of Kalimdor was starting to happen, but Illidan was still down on the ground together with Tyrande. Malfurion urged Ysera Sargeras to dive down and pick them up, and they barely escaped the carnage.
Brother, a timely arrival.
Illidan! The well is out of control!
Aye. It's been twisted and turned by too many spells. The fuss we, especially you, made with the portal was too much. The same spell that sent the Burning Legion back into their foul realm now works on the well. It's devouring itself and taking its surroundings with it. Fascinating, isn't it?
Not if we're caught up in it. Why weren't you running? What have you been doing with your hand in the well?
If you've a way out of here, we should probably use it. I've tried casting myself and Tyrande out of here, but the well is too much in flux.
This way.
Queen Azshara and a Highborn, they were not so lucky. They were caught by the waters, and although Azshara tried to use her magic to keep the waters away, eventually they would be crushed. The old gods made contact with the queen, they offered her a deal, and they transformed them. They transformed Azshara, they transformed her Highborn, they transformed Lady Vash, and they turned them into the Naga. On the mainland, the resistance had moved back all the way to Mount Hyjal. They were now led by Jared Shadowsong, and they were trying to plan what to do next. A great lake was nearby with plenty of water to sustain them, but Illidan reached the lake first. He still had vials with water collected from the well, and he poured 3 of them into the lake to create a new Well of Eternity. The Night Elves had just fought a war, lost countless lives because of the original well, and they were not happy about this. They charged for Illidan, he lashed out against them, burned a few of them in their skin, and he nearly killed Davramar and Jared. Malfurion captured his twin, and although the Night Elves wanted to execute Illidan for his crimes, Malfurion pleaded for his life. So instead, they decided to imprison him. Jared's sister, Maev's Shadowsong, was more than willing to guard Illidan and make sure that this betrayer would never see the light of day again. The dragon aspects, they decided to turn this new Well of Eternity into a blessing, and they planted the world tree Nordrassil. They then blessed it with their own powers, they blessed the Night Elves, gave them eternal life, while also saving them from the well. Illidan told them that they were all fools, that one day they would all pray to him as if he were a god when the demons would return. The demons had had their first bite of Azeroth, and they'd surely return for a second. When that moment would arrive, they would have need of his skill and knowledge, someone who knew how the Legion worked and how to stop them. It would take 10,000 years locked away in darkness, but Illidan would be proven right. The Legion would return, but before that moment, some important events happened. The Highborn, led by Davramar's Sunstrider, they joined the resistance in the final moments of the war. Using arcane magic was made punishable by death, since the Night Elves had learned their lesson and they did not want to start another War of the Ancients. Davramar and his people, they simply couldn't deal with this. Magic was such a huge part of their life that they simply couldn't stop using it. Now they made using magic punishable by death, but they were unwilling to execute so many of their people, so instead they decided to exile the Highborn, and before they left, they stole one of Illidan's vials full of water from the Well of Eternity. Eventually, these exiles, they found a way to the Eastern Kingdoms, they started to call themselves High Elves, they built their city of Quel'Thalas, and they used the vial to create their own Well of Power, namely the Sunwell. Maev's Shadowsong was one of the people who wanted to kill Illidan on the spot, but thanks to his brother, they decided to imprison Illidan instead. She then offered herself to guard Illidan, and Malfurion told her to collect volunteers from the Sisterhood of Elune. Those that joined Maiev, they became an organization known as the Watchers, and as their leader, Maiev was granted the title of Warden. Over time, she would award a select few who had proven themselves with the same title. Her brother Jared would one day simply leave the Night Elves behind, he would simply disappear, and he left her alone to guard Illidan for millennia. Throughout those years, the Watchers became her family, and Illidan was her main focus. Malfurion, under the teachings of Cenarius, had become an archdruid, and he'd started to teach other male Night Elves how to become a druid themselves. The Night Elf druids, including Malfurion, were bound to the Emerald Dream through the world tree Nordrassil. As part of the mystical pact, the druids agreed to sleep for centuries at a time so that their spirits could roam the infinite paths of Ysera's dreamways. Though the druids were grieved at the prospect of losing so many years of their lives to hibernation, they selfishly agreed to uphold their bargain with Ysera. They would wake up from time to time, and sometimes Malfurion would visit Illidan's prison in the hopes of turning him from his fatal path. This proved to be unsuccessful, but nonetheless he tried. With Malfurion and the other druids spending their time in the Emerald Dream, it fell to Tyrande to lead their people. Which brings us to the events in Warcraft 3. Like Illidan said, the Legion, they had returned. Kil'jaeden had sent his creation the Lich King to weaken the world and get it ready for a new invasion. The Lich King recruited Kel'Thuzad, he recruited Arthas, had Lordaeron hit by a plague, and he had Archimonde summoned to our world.
You see, Lord Archimonde, we need not fear the Night Elves. The Scourge can...
Archimonde, after 10,000 years, how is it possible?
The Legion has returned to consume this world, woman. And this time, your troublesome race will not stop us. Fools! Let her slip away! Find her, damn you! Find her and kill her.
The day we have long feared has finally come. The Burning Legion has returned. I must cross the river and warn the rest of my sisters before all is lost.
Archimonde had returned, and he set his eyes on the world tree Nordrassil to drain the tree from its powers. Not only would this weaken the Night Elves and take away their immortality, this would also boost Archimonde's powers. Tyrande realized she would need Malfurion's help. Normally it was the demigod Cenarius who would have woken the druids, but Grom Hellscream and his troops had killed Cenarius, so it fell to Tyrande to wake the druids. She claimed the Horn of Cenarius, pulled Malfurion from the dream, and together they moved to awaken the rest of the druids. Along the journey, they moved underground and they found a path leading to Illidan's prison.
Oh no. How could I have forgotten?
What is behind this door that worries you, my love?
This door leads to Illidan's prison, Tyrande. We should go. Now.
Illidan? It's been 10,000 years. Could he still be alive? We should free him, Furion. He would be the perfect ally against the undead and their demon masters.
No, Tyrande. That beast must never be set free.
But he is your brother.
Be that as it may. He is far too dangerous. I forbid it.
Only the goddess may forbid me anything. I will free Illidan whether you like it or not.
You might wonder, where's Maiev during all of this? Well, Maiev and the Watchers, they were charged with guarding Illidan, but over the years their duties spread out and they were charged with capturing more dangerous criminals. Just before these events, Maiev was called away on such a mission, and this is the reason why we don't see her guarding Illidan. Tyrande kills Illidan's guards and she sets the betrayer free.
Illidan, is that you?
Tyrande, it is your voice. After all these ages spent in darkness, your voice is like the pure light of the moon upon my mind.
The Legion has returned, Illidan. Your people have need of you once more.
Because I once cared for you, Tyrande, I will hunt down the demons. But I will never owe our people anything.
Then let us hurry back to the surface. The demon's corruption spreads with every second we waste.
10,000 years spent in darkness were unable to kill Illidan's love for Tyrande, and for her, Illidan would fight the Legion. He is now classified as a demon hunter, the first of its kind, and for some reason he still has his blades. They've never explained the details as to how Illidan got these weapons, and they've never explained why these weapons were in his cage or why the Night Elves didn't take them away from him.
To update this part, the Illidan novel actually dedicates some time explaining why his weapons are with him. It says, he called on his twin blades, the war glaives of Azenov. They'd been displayed triumphantly on weapon racks outside of his cell, taunting him. But now the ancient soul bindings linking them to him caused the potent weapons to materialize in his hands. Power flowed through them, illuminating the runes on their blades. His heart beat faster, his mouth felt dry. There was a chance of freedom after all. He clutched the warglaves tight. In the past, they had killed demons. Now they would kill elves. The thoughts did not disturb him as once it would have. He would even take pleasure in it. So they were there to taunt him throughout the millennia of imprisonment. And then as Tyrande rode in to release him, the binding spells weakened and he gained his powers back. Then the part where Tyrande plays out.
Nonetheless, Illidan breaks out to help Tyrande, and his brother Malfurion wasn't pleased with Tyrande's actions. He says that this betrayer might doom them all, but despite that, Illidan, he just goes out to fulfill his promise to Tyrande.
I am free after 10,000 years. Yet still my own brother thinks I am a villain. I'll show him my true power. I'll show him that the demons have no hold over me.
Are you certain of that, Demon Hunter? Are you certain your will is your own?
You reek of death, human. You'll regret approaching me.
Come then. You'll find that we're evenly matched.
Arthas the Death Knight was sent by his master Ner'zhul, also known as the Lich King, to point Illidan towards the skull of Gul'dan. Ner'zhul and Gul'dan, they used to be orcs, which is a huge story on its own, but at the end Gul'dan lost his life in search of more power, and Ner'zhul was punished by Kil'jaeden for betraying him. As punishment, Kil'jaeden turned Ner'zhul's soul into the Lich King, and he ordered him to weaken the world and get it ready for this invasion. Ner'zhul was no fool though, and he wasn't willingly working for the Legion. In secret, he schemed behind their back, and he had Arthas tell Illidan about the skull, so that Illidan could absorb its powers, take out the Dreadlord Tichondriads, and deal a severe blow to the Legion's invasion.
Now, at least the demons will no longer corrupt the forests. But if I destroy the skull and claim its powers as my own, I will become stronger than any of Archimonde's lieutenants. Yes, the power should be mine.
Now I am complete.
By absorbing the skull of Gul'dan, Illidan boosted his powers, but also transformed himself into looking more like a demon. Just like Malfurion, who became a stronger druid, he received antlers and wings and he looked more like an animal. Now that Illidan received more demonic powers, he started to look more like a demon, including horns, demon wings and even hooves. He did manage to take out Tichondrius though, he did manage to save Felwood and very likely the world, but Tyrande and Malfurion, they did not approve of his actions.
Foul demon! What have you done with my brother?
It is I, Furion. This is what I've become.
No. Illidan, how could you?
The leader of the undead has been destroyed, and the forests will heal in time.
At the cost of your soul? You are no brother of mine. Be gone from this place, and never set foot in our lands again.
So be it, brother.
Malfurion banishes his own brother from their lands, and he, together with Tyrande, they team up with Thrall and Jaina, and they take out Archimonde. It did cost them the World Tree Nordersil and the Nidal's immortality, but they were able to stop the Legion, save the world, and in time the tree would heal. Many months after the battle, Illidan received a visit from Kil'jaeden himself.
Illidan, in the past you have been both friend and foe to the Burning Legion. But by consuming the skull of Gul'dan, you sealed our defeat in this world. I come to offer you a second chance to serve us.
What would you have me do, Great One?
My creation, the Lich King, has betrayed me. He dared to break the pact that binds him to my will. But his spirit still lies trapped inside the frozen throne of Icecrown. Destroy it for me, and I will grant you your heart's desire.
It shall be done, Great One. It shall be done.
Ner'zhul's becomes such a problem for Kil'jaeden that he recruits Illidan to take him out. The Skull of Gul'dan did not only give Illidan more power, it also gave him access to Gul'dan's memories, and the last memory of Gul'dan was him trying to get his hands on more power. Specifically, the Eye of Sargeras, an item which would give Illidan enough power to destroy the Lich King from a distance. Getting to the Tomb of Sargeras and collecting it would require more manpower, so Illidan used his magic to summon the Naga from the deep. Now it's never explained how he knew about the Naga or why they answered his call. If you want to give it a reason, you could say that Illidan's new eyes allowed him to see under the sea and he could see the Naga. A possible reason why they teamed up with him is because part of the Naga who joined him were led by Lady Vash. It's possible that Lady Vash remembered him from the day that he received his eyes, or perhaps they truly believed that Illidan could conquer the world and get them a place on land.
Hi, me again from the future. They've updated this information as well with Warcraft Chronicles Volume 3. Illidan Stormrage had heard only rumors of the Highborn's fate. Whether they were true, he did not know. But when he cast a powerful spell to reach the Highborn in the ocean deeps, they answered. A group of Naga, led by Lady Vash, emerged from the depths, an army of skill and fang. One and all, they pledged themselves to Illidan. The Naga did not come because of the history they shared with the former Night Elf, nor did they respect his power as a demon. They came because the old gods willed it. The old gods had taken notice of Illidan. His hunger for power and his chaotic past intrigued them. His quest to destroy the Lich King could spark a new war on Azeroth. One that would likely envelop the undead, the world's nations, and the Legion. With that kind of turmoil consuming Azeroth, Cho'Gall and his cultists could awaken the old gods relatively unopposed. Illidan had the potential to be very useful, and the old gods had sent the Naga to make sure his campaign against the Lich King succeeded. If the former Night Elf became troublesome, so be it. The old gods would simply command the Naga to cut out his fell corrupted heart. Either way, the old gods were confident that they could use Illidan Stormrage to bring a new age of conflict to the world. So, like they tried to use him during the War of the Ancients, the old gods once more tried to maneuver Illidan to benefit their own plans.
Either way, it did make for one hell of a cinematic.
Now go forth. Unleash the tides of doom upon all those who would oppose us.
Mayev's Shadow Song, she found out that Tyrande had freed Illidan and she couldn't believe that they had freed the betrayer. Don't forget that she had sacrificed millennia of her life to keep him locked away. So together with Naisha and the Wardens, Maiev resumed the hunt. Eventually, after fighting with Illidan's Nagas and even some satyrs, she found a way to the Tomb of Sargeras and she confronted Illidan.
So, Warden Shadow Song. You've made it at last. I knew you would.
You have much to pay for, Illidan. I'm taking you back to your cell.
Naivete does not suit you. When I consumed the power of Gul'dan's skull, I inherited his memories, especially those of this place, and the dark prize he coveted.
Yes, the power of Sargeras. You would claim it as your own.
That power is beyond my reach, little warden. But this, the Eye of Sargeras, contains all the power I'll need to rid this wretched world of my enemies once and for all. Ironic that you should be its first victim.
You're insane.
Isolation can do that to the mind. Now, after all the long centuries you kept me chained in darkness, it is only fitting that I bury you in turn.
As revenge to the one who kept him in prison, Illidan decided to sink the tomb back to the bottom of the sea. Maiev manages to escape the tomb with the use of her own blinking ability, but Naisha and all those that follow her inside the tomb perished that day. Outside, Illidan's Naga showed up to finish the job, and Maiev sent out a messenger to Malfurion, while she and the others tried to hold their ground. Tyrande and Malfurion, they arrived just in time to fight off the Naga and make their way to Illidan.
As the goddess wills.
Tyrande, what are you doing here? This battle does not concern you.
I was wrong to set you free, Illidan. I can see that now. You've become a monster.
Monster? Is that what you think of me? I have always cared for you, Tyrande. I sought only to prove my worthiness, my power.
Raw power is no substitute for true strength, Illidan. That is why I chose your brother over you.
Still you refuse to see me for what I truly am. You believe me to be a villain, your enemy. But soon now, you will see that our enemies are the same.
All Illidan ever tried to do was prove his worth towards Tyrande. But Tyrande doesn't fall for raw power alone. She goes as far as to call Illidan a monster, but when Tyrande faces Illidan one-on-one, he still doesn't harm her.
Brother, what are you doing here?
I've come to stop you, Illidan. Instead of banishing you, I should have returned you to your cage when I had the chance. I was weak then, but no longer.
I have sworn allegiance to a new master, brother. I have a great task to perform in his service. I'm sorry, but I cannot allow you to stand in my way.
Don't worry, my love. We'll find Illidan wherever he runs. We'll find him.
Illidan escapes in a boat just before they're able to capture him, and he sets sail to the lands of Lordaeron. At this point, Malfurion decides to stay behind in the forests of Lordaeron, which have suffered greatly under the influence of the Scourge. He is going to communicate with the land, see if he can do anything for it, and that means that Maiev and Tyrande they team up and resume the pursuit of Illidan. Along their journey, they come across Kil'jaeden Sunstrider and his caravan. Kil'jaeden is actually a descendant from Daframar Sunstrider, and his people, the High Elves, now call themselves Blood Elves, in honor of those they lost against the Scourge and Arthas. Tyrande, despite Maiev's protest, offers to escort the caravan and protect it from the Scourge as it makes its journey to safer grounds. In return, Kil'jaeden agrees to help them in their search for Illidan, but the Scourge forces, they prove far too powerful and they overwhelm them. Tyrande stays behind as he tries to hold the Scourge back, but the bridge that she's standing on, it crumbles and the river takes her away. Kil'jaeden wants to go after her, try to save her, but Maiev tells him no. She's obsessed with finding the betrayer and she doesn't care what it takes or who she needs to sacrifice as long as she captures Illidan. In the forest of Lordaeron, Malfurion feels the effect that Illidan's spell has on Icecrown. The land itself screams out in turmoil since the spell is not only going to destroy the Lich King, it would also destroy Northrend.
I see the frozen land of Northrend, the very roof of the world. The land itself is being split asunder. How can this be? What could cause such devastation?
It's working. Nothing can withstand the power of the Eye. Soon now, my master's enemies will be undone, and I will claim my just reward.
Thank you, great spirits. I know what must be done. I promise you, this treachery will not go unpunished.
Malfurion quickly makes his way to Maiev's camp, where she tells him the news about Tyrande. She tells him that Tyrande has been torn apart by the Scourge instead of just being dragged away, and this infuriates Malfurion. The three of them ride off to stop Illidan from finishing his spell.
No! The spell is not done! It is not done!
It is over, brother. Your vile schemes end here.
Illidan Stormrage, for recklessly endangering countless lives and threatening the very balance of the world, I hereby sentence you to death.
Too much blood has been spilled on your account, Illidan. Even now, I can feel the lands of Northrend reeling from the spell you cast. Imprisonment will not be enough this time.
I will execute him myself.
Fools! Can you not see? The spell we channeled was meant to strike at the undead, our common enemy. My mission was to destroy the Lich King's stronghold of Ice Crown.
And no heed to the cost! Because of you, Tyrande is dead!
What? Your pardon, Lord Stormrage, but the priestess may still be alive. She was swept downriver, but it's premature to simply assume
Silence,
that...
Kale.
You told me she was torn apart. You lied to me.
The betrayer's capture was our primary concern, Shondo. I needed your help. I knew you would go to her, and we would lose our chance.
Just who is the betrayer now, woman? I must go to her immediately.
Believe me, brother. Despite all our differences, you know that I would never lead Tyrande to harm. Let me help you. My Naga can scour the river for us. Let me do this, at least.
Very well.
What? After all he's done, you would trust this traitor?
Silence! I will deal with you later. Let's go, brother.
Despite everything, Malfurion banishing him, Tyrande calling him a monster, Kil'jaeden who will surely kill him, Illidan still offers his aid to go and save Tyrande, since that's how much he loves her. His Naga managed to find Tyrande. Illidan and Malfurion, they save her life, and after that it's time to say goodbye.
You risked your life for me. I don't understand.
Whatever I may be, whatever I may become in this world, know that I will always look out for you, Tyrande.
Tyrande!
I knew you would not forsake me.
I thought I'd lost you forever, my love. If not for Illidan's aid, I may well have.
We have had much strife between us, my brother. I have known only ages of hate for you. But for my part, I wish it to end. From this day forward, let there be peace between us.
You have brought much suffering to the world, Illidan. For that, you can never be forgiven. However, you saved the life of my love. For that, I will let you go. But should you ever threaten my people again...
I understand, brother. Lordship over this world was never my aim. Only power. Only the magic. I've lingered here too long. I must go. By aiding you, I've betrayed my new master. If I am not careful, his wrath will be my end.
Malfurion can never forgive Illidan for all the things he has done in the past, but he is willing to let him go for saving the one he loves. Maiev shows up and she calls them fools for letting Illidan go, and she follows her prey through the portal into Outland. The next time that we would see Illidan is inside Maiev's cage. In the meantime, Kil'jaeden and Lady Vashj, they've teamed up and they also made their way to Outland to follow the one Lady Vashj calls Master. Kil'jaeden decides to follow her because his people, the Blood Elves, they feel a hunger for magic. This hunger exists because Arthas destroyed their Sunwell, their source of magic, and Lady Vashj tells him that Illidan might have a cure. Besides that reason, the alliance that Kil'jaeden allied himself with, they were about to execute the prince and his people, so following Illidan was the better plan. They see that Illidan is captured by Maiev, though they set him free and they capture Maiev in the process.
You were right to come to me, Kale. I share the pain of your addiction, your hunger for magic.
Can you help us, Lord Illidan? Can you cure us?
There is no cure, young one. But there are ways to feed the hunger. Follow me and I will grant your people more magic than they can imagine.
So be it. Lord Illidan, my fellow Blood Elves and I humbly pledge ourselves to your service.
Then arise, young Kale. You shall be my right hand, and the harbinger of my wrath.
What of your plans, Master?
Illidan failed to destroy the Lich King and he knew that Kil'jaeden would not be pleased. His plan was to hide from Kil'jaeden on Outland, and while they were there they might as well become the rulers of the planets. That position was currently in the hands of MacFarredan, a powerful demon who was using portals to summon vast numbers of demons. To defeat MacFarredan, they would have to disable these portals, and along the journey, they meet Akama, a broken former Draenei who wants to see MacFarredan dead and take back his temple. One by one, the portals go down, and even the mighty MacFarredan falls to their might. But Kil'jaeden sees all.
What is this, Vosh? Where did this storm come from?
Keep your head down, fool. Something terrible is drawing near.
Foolish little mongrel. You failed to destroy the frozen throne as I commanded. And still you thought to hide from me in this forsaken backwater. I thought you to be more cunning, Illidan.
Kil'jaeden, I was merely set back. I was attempting to bolster my forces. The Lich King will be destroyed. I promise you.
Still, these servitors you've gathered show some promise. I will give you one last chance, Illidan. Destroy the frozen throne, or face my eternal wrath.
Perhaps hiding here was not the most prudent decision. Still, the quest lies before us. Will you follow me into the cold heart of death itself?
The Naga are yours to command, Lord Illidan. Where you go, we follow.
The Blood Elves are yours as well, Master. We will drive the Scourge before us and shatter the frozen throne as you command.
And so the race to Icecrown is on. Arthas and Illidan both tried to reach Icecrown first, and in the end they faced off against each other. Frostmourne versus the twin blades of Azzinoth.
The frozen throne is mine, demon. Step aside. Leave this world and never return. If you do, I'll be waiting.
I have sworn to destroy it, Arthas. It must be done.
Never.
Arthas and Frostmourne won the battle, and Arthas was in such a hurry to reach the top of Icecrown that he left Illidan in the snow to die. Illidan didn't die though. His allies Lady Vash and Kil'jaeden, they dragged him back to Outland. Again, Illidan had failed his mission, so there was nothing left to do but to prepare their forces for the inevitable wrath of Kil'jaeden.
Imprisoned for 10,000 years. Banished from my own homeland. And now you dare enter my realm. You are not prepared.
It took 4 years, but Doomlord Kazakh found a way to reopen the Dark Portal, and we found out what exactly Illidan had been doing with his time. The lore during the Burning Crusade was sometimes conflicting, and some parts have been retconned or never really explained, so not all of it makes a whole lot of sense, but let's take a look at the story and see how far we can go. Our adventure begins in Hellfire Peninsula, where we find out that the Pit Lord MacFarredan, the same one that Illidan defeated to claim Outlands, has been imprisoned and is used to create fell orcs. It was the blood of the Pit Lord Manoroth that empowered but also corrupted the orcs of the First Horde, and it made them slaves to the Burning Legion. The blood of MacFarredan is used in a similar way, only now the orcs follow Illidan's orders, although some don't drink willingly. They're part of the so-called Fell Horde, and the war chief is Kargaf Bladefist.
Vermin! Leeches! Take my blood and choke on it!
Both the Alliance and the Horde, they take their forces, they attacked Hellfire Citadel, they take care of this so-called Fell Horde and their war chief, and they even manage to free and slay MacFarredan.
The Legion will consume you all.
In Zangarmarsh, we find Lady Vash and her Naga, who are still loyal to Illidan. They're working on draining all the waters from the marsh, but the reason behind it is never truly explained.
Water is life. It has become a rare commodity here in Outland, a commodity that we alone shall control. We are the Highborn, and the time has come at last for us to retake our rightful place in the world.
Some speculate that it was simply to take control of the water, since water means life, and controlling it would give them power. Another theory is that perhaps they were storing all this water to create a new Well of Eternity, which could fit in combination with the two vials that Kil'jaeden and Lady Vash held. Each of them held one of the vials filled with water from the original Well of Eternity, so that could fit, and it could match with what was going on in Netherstorm.
Updates. They were indeed just drained in the marshlands as part of the first stage of their plan to take control of all of the waters in Outlands, and through them, all of its people. The speculation on a new Well of Eternity turns out to be just that, speculation. The two vials with waters from the original Well of Eternity, at the time of writing this, the expansion Dragonflight, are still in the possession of the Bronze Dragonflight.
Lord Illidan, I am sorry.
Since in Netherstorm, we find Kil'jaeden Sunstrider and his forces, and they've taken over the Tempest Keep. This dimensional ship was used by the Naru to travel to Outlands, and one ship was named the Exodar, which took the Draenei from Outlands to Azeroth. Kil'jaeden spent his time in Netherstorm draining mana directly from the Twisting Nether, but we would later find out that he was no longer loyal to Illidan. Illidan's defeated Icecrown had him slipping into insanity, and Kil'jaeden switched paymasters accordingly. He now serves Kil'jaeden himself, but that's on its own is a story for another time.
Energy. Power. My people are addicted to it. Welcome to the future.
The Naru that travel to Outland with the Tempest Keep, they are called the Shatar, and their leader is Adal. They, together with the Aldor, they took the city of Shafrabek, and the Aldor are a group of holy Draenei who've been fighting with Kil'jaeden's forces. The Naru are hell-bent on stopping the Burning Legion, so they would be a very powerful ally for Illidan against Kil'jaeden. Instead of allying with them though, Kil'jaeden sent his troops to attack Shafra City, but instead of actually fighting, his forces laid down their weapons and teamed up with Adal. Vorefal the Seer, the leader of this Blood Elf group, he had seen a vision which showed him that Adal was his race's only hope for survival. They formed the faction called the Scryers, and this was a terrible blow to Illidan's forces. You have to wonder why exactly they attacked Adal and Shafra City, why did they turn them into an enemy? And again, this has never truly been explained. Some write it off to Illidan's madness, as he saw himself as the ultimate lord of Outlands. He would not want a potential foe gathering troops against him, so perhaps that's a simple reason as to why. Another theory is that Illidan never ordered Kil'jaeden to attack the city. As we would later find out, Kil'jaeden had allied himself with Kil'jaeden. What better way to weaken Illidan's position against the Legion, keep the Naru occupied, while Kil'jaeden served his new master, than by faking an attack and putting these two forces against each other.
Warcraft Chronicles Volume 3 clarifies that it was Illidan who gave the order to attack. He saw the resurgence of Shafrev as a potential threat to his war against the Legion. If the Naru gathered enough strength, they would likely move against Illidan's holdings and seize control of Outlands. Illidan decided to strike while Shafrev was still weak. He ordered Kil'jaeden Sunstrider to send his Blood Elves against the city and take it by force. Kil'jaeden in turn requested that Illidan's Demon Hunters join the assault, but Illidan refused. They had another purpose, though he remained silent about what that was. Illidan's response angered Kil'jaeden, but still he obeyed the command. To which Voronval gets his vision, switches sides, sends words to Kil'jaeden, urging him to join the Naaru in Shefref, but he received no reply. Kil'jaeden was furious that his army had abandoned him to follow the Naaru. Publicly, he condemned the act as treason and an attack on his sovereignty as prince. Privately, he saw Voronval's defection as evidence of his own failure. This incident widened the rift between Kil'jaeden and Illidan. The prince demanded that the former Night Elf retaliate against the Naaru, but nothing was done. Illidan was so focused on his demon hunters and his true mission that he paid little attention to Voronval's army. This only proved to Kil'jaeden that what Kil'jaeden had told him was true. Illidan did not care about the prince and his people. Kil'jaeden would not allow Illidan to sacrifice the blood as his pawns. He lost all faith in the former Night Elf, and he looked to Kil'jaeden as a new benefactor.
What we do know is that Adal, the Shatar, the Scryers, the Aldor, they all work together against the Legion and against Illidan. Another ally for this war was found in Shadowmoon Valley, namely the broken Draenei Akama, who teamed up with Illidan during Warcraft 3.
I remember the temple as it used to be, a place of worship. I prayed within its chambers and meditated among its gardens. I was happy then, at peace. I remember too the day the orcs came. A day marked by cries of war and torrents of blood. When terrified women and children huddled in darkened corners. I led many to safety, but many more paid the ultimate price. That day, my beloved sanctuary became the Black Temple. There, the orc warlocks practiced a twisted magic that corrupted the land and nearly destroyed us all.
Do not do this, Gul'dan. Bear witness to the undeniable power of our Dark Master. He will destroy us all.
Even after the Horde's reckless sorcery tore the planet apart, my people were unable to find a lasting sanctuary. I remember the armies of demons that swept down on us like a plague. During these dark times, the one called MacLeod made the temple his home. Then came Illidan, the one they called the Betrayer, the enemy of my enemy.
MacLeod lures scores of hapless demons through them daily.
Then we must seal them permanently.
We helped him seal the portals of Outland and cut off the Legion's reinforcements. We fought with renewed strength, and together we reclaimed our sacred ground. I think part of me knew, even then, that the Black Temple had only traded one evil master for another. I prefer to remember the temple as it used to be, not the abomination it has become. My soul bears the burden of my misjudgment, but I have been patient. I have been waiting, and when the time is right, the betrayer will become the betrayed.
Akama is not happy with Illidan's actions and he wants to take his former temple back. And on top of that, Illidan has also decided to enslave Akama's fellow Broken. Surprisingly enough, Maya's Shadow Song still lives as a prisoner and she's guarded by Akama. Together they conspire against Illidan, and when the time is right, they'll strike at the betrayer. This is easier said than done though, since Illidan has stripped Akama of a portion of his soul and he's holding it as a hostage within the Black Temple. This assures him that Akama and his people will remain obedient, so something will have to be done about this. A long attunement questline explained what was going on and that Akama was actually working against Illidan. In order to enter the Black Temple, we would have to get the Medallion of Karabor. Akama holds all 4 medallion fragments, but he's still missing the final piece. Seer Udalo has come to Akama in a dream to announce that he has found the final piece, but Udalo has been captured by Kil'jaeden. We're sent to the Alcatraz in the Tempest Keep to find Udalo and see what he knows. We unfortunately arrived too late though. Udalo is long gone, he's already dead, but before he died he left a single word written on the floor. You can barely read it, but you do recognize the word Atamal, and Akama explains that fell orcs under Illidan's command have guarded an Atamal crystal known as the Heart of Fury. We kill the orcs, we take the crystal and we deliver it to Akama. Only touching the crystal makes Akama feel like he could become the Lord of Outland himself. But this was not part of his vision. He places the crystal within the medallion and he tells you to bring the restored medallion back to Adal. The next part of the questline begins in the Serpentine Caverns, where the Naga found out that Seer Olem has been working against Illidan. They tried to torture him to make him talk, but he kept his mouth shut, so they planned to deliver him to Illidan himself. Illidan has the power to see through flesh into one's soul, so if that would happen, all their plans would be in jeopardy. We set him free and return to Akama, but Olem realizes that there's only one way to truly keep their secret safe.
Akama, my friend. Have you been informed? I was found out by Vash's followers. Our secret is in peril.
Olem, old friend, it is good to see that you are safe.
Illidan is looking for me. I am not safe here. None of us are.
Illidan will become suspicious. That much is for certain. We will deal with it as we always do.
Illidan will find me. And when he does, he will pry the Ash-Tongue's secret from me. Such is the power of the betrayer. No. There is only one way. My usefulness to the cause has come to an end. I must venture into the spirit world.
You cannot be serious, Olem. Your sacrifice has already been too great.
My decision is final. I will not be dissuaded. I have devoted my life to our plan. To jeopardize it now would betray all who have died for the cause long before me.
It appears your mind is set, then. We will guide you to the spirit world with as much kindness as we can.
I thank you, Akama. You honor me by allowing me this moment, surrounded by my brothers. Farewell, friend. Guide our people well.
Farewell, dear friend. We shall meet you in the next world when our duties in this one are fulfilled. Master, we have found the traitor who escaped Vash. His body lies in front of me, lifeless.
You disappoint me, Akama. I wanted to question the treacherous worm myself. I'm beginning to question your allegiance, Broken.
But sire, you have misjudged my actions. I do have knowledge of someone close to you who plans to betray you. It is that dog, Kael'thas. He has aligned with Kil'jaeden and intends to replace you as Lord of Outland.
I do not sense lies in your voice, Akama. That Kael'thas would betray me does not come as a big surprise. I'm not as oblivious as some would think. That one of your own was involved with him puts your loyalties into question. Send your ash tongue into Tempest Keep and slay his most prized possession, the phoenix known as Alhar. I must know that you are not on his side. Do not think of betraying me, Broken. We both know who owns your soul.
It will be done, my lord.
After killing Alhar, there's only really one thing to do, and that's to give Akama a chance against Illidan. And to do this, Akama will need his soul. In a vision, he's shown that Chillwind's phylactery would be perfect for the job, but the only problem is that this battle has already taken place. That means that we'll have to go to the Caverns of Time, to the battle for Mount Hyjal, and we'll have to collect the phylactery.
You have won this battle, but not the war.
With the phylactery in Akama's possession, the time has come to strike at the betrayer. Akama will set Maiev free, and together with his Deathsworn, they'll attack Illidan at his doorstep.
Now is the time, Maiev. Unleash your wrath.
I have waited for this moment for years. Illidan and his lapdogs will be destroyed.
Slay all who see us. Word must not get back to Illidan.
The Naru Zeiri also joins the battle at the Black Temple, and together with the Scryers and the Aldor, they manage to distract Illidan long enough for Akama and Maiev to infiltrate the Black Temple. Maiev disappears during that battle, so we wouldn't see her for the rest of the raid, but Akama and his Deathsworn remained close to help. Through the sewers, we made our way inside, and we got a look at what Illidan had done with the temple. During his time in Outlands, Illidan apparently allied himself with the Dragonmaw clan. This clan had been collecting Netherwing eggs and riding Netherwing drakes. Netherwing dragons were not born on Draenor, they were brought there back during the Second Horde invasion. Deathwing had decided that transporting his black dragon eggs to Draenor was a very good idea. This way, he had his flight on a second planet, another world to conquer, so in exchange for his help, the Horde transported eggs to Draenor. The explosion that transformed Draenor into Outland also magically transformed the eggs, turning them into Netherwing dragons. That's the background of the dragons, and they were born free, but they were now being controlled by the Dragonmaw clan, and the Nether dragon called Mordonai was not happy about this. He requested help from adventurers to infiltrate the Dragonmaw clan, work their way up from Peon to the first High Lords, and along the way messing up as much as we could. At the end of the questline, we're promoted by Illidan himself, but Illidan is no fool. He instantly sees through our disguise, and he orders Overlord Morgor to deliver our carcass in pieces to his lair. But before they could take revenge, we were rescued and taken to Shafra. Surprisingly enough, Illidan has also recruited demons into his ranks, and these demons were completely loyal to Illidan. During the Green Fire questline in Mr. Pandaria, we found out that Illidan had created a fount of power within the Black Temple, similar to the power from the original Well of Eternity. We know that Illidan had taken with him a few of the flaws that he had filled with water from the original well, so it's very possible that he used one of these flaws to create this source of power. This power was such a pure energy that the demons gladly switched sides in exchange for drinking from it. By feeding upon its powers, they were also broken free from their addiction to the Legion's magic. Funny enough, Kenrafat also speculates that this is the original power source Illidan intended to offer the Blood Elves, but for some reason, he didn't let them near it. Once we defeated the Shade of Akama, and Akama restores his soul, the Ash-Tongue Deathsworn stand down and they stop attacking us. The next boss, Terran Gorefiend, is the first Death Knight ever created by Gul'dan. He was defeated by the Alliance during the Second Horde invasion, but we were tricked into restoring his body, and after that he rode off and he joined Illidan in the Black Temple. It was never explained into details why he joined Illidan or why Illidan allowed him in, but I'd imagine that Illidan could use all the help he could get, and Terran followed power.
The wheel spins again.
The Shrine of Lost Souls, as I mentioned earlier, is the place where Illidan created his pool of power. I wish I could tell you more details about the boss, the Reliquary of Souls, but not much information is given. It's speculated that this was a vessel used to store souls, and since they chained it to the wall, it's speculated that they were not friendly even to their masters. Its purpose and such, sadly, is not explained.
Be careful what you wish for.
Next, we take out Gurtak Bloodboil, a so-called Dire Orc, and after that, the way to the Den of Mortal Delights opens up. This area is in my opinion one of the most bizarre areas ever created by Blizzard. The den is filled with blood elves, with humans, sisters of pleasure and pain, servants, concubines. It's truly a den of mortal delights. Any reason or purpose has never been given to this area, but it's not hard to imagine what this was used for. Mother Sargeras waits at the end for us, and during the battle she says things like,
"So, business or pleasure? Enjoying yourselves? I wasn't finished."
The Burning Crusade, a very strange time for lore, but let's continue the story. After Mother Sargeras, we face the Illidari Council, and once they're defeated, Akama shows up again to open the door to the betrayer. He isn't powerful enough to break the spells himself, but the spirits of Udalu and Olem, the ones who had sacrificed themselves for the cause, they show up and they help him.
Be wary, friends. The betrayer meditates in the court just beyond.
Finally, it's time to take on Illidan and end his reign.
Akama, your duplicity is hardly surprising. I should have slaughtered you and your malformed brethren long ago.
We've come to end your reign, Illidan. My people and all of Outland shall be free.
Boldly said, but I remain unconvinced.
The time has come. The moment is at hand.
You are not prepared.
During the fight, Illidan summons his minions, so Akama leaves us alone with the betrayer.
Is this it, mortals? Is this all the fury you can muster?
Their fury pales before mine, Illidan. We have some unsettled business between us.
Maiev, how is it even possible?
Ah, my long hunt is finally over. Today, justice will be done.
Maiev shows up near the end of the fight to end her long hunt.
It is finished. You are beaten.
You have won, Maiev. But the Huntress is nothing without the hunt. You are nothing without me.
He is right. I feel nothing. I am nothing. Farewell, champions.
The light will bless these dismal halls once again. I swear it.
Maiev feels nothing after getting her revenge and she teleports herself away. Akama swears that the temple will be restored and Illidan lies dead on the floor. So ends Illidan's reign over Outland, but his story, his legacy is not yet over. Illidan wasn't the only demon hunter in existence, and Kil'jaeden had sent 5 of his blood elves to train with Illidan. 3 of them died during training. Leophras the Blind, he went mad and he became a boss in the Serpentine Caverns, while Varadis was so good that he became even better than his night elf teachers. Another night elf demon hunter named Altrius the Sufferer, he saw that Illidan was not who he once was. His soul had been corrupted by power, his mind been twisted by defeats. He had become what Altrius sworn to destroy, so he helped us with taking out Alandine, Ferras, Nefarel and Varadis. There are more confirmed demon hunters, and very likely that there are more unknown demon hunters, but the last one I want to mention is Feronas Sindweller. Feronax can be found in Felwood, and we're sent out to claim his head by Archdruid Navarax, since Feronas has been killing druids. Feronas explains that the night elves he killed were not actually night elves, but they were demons in disguise. Even the Archdruid is a demon, but more importantly, he shows you what Illidan did for the forest of Felwood. How he fought through armies of demons, how he drank from the skull of Gul'dan, and how he took out the demon Tychondrius. As the reward for these actions, Illidan was banished by his own brother, and I think this shows how divided people are when it comes to Illidan. Some say that he's a misunderstood hero, some say that he's a full-fledged villain, while others worship him as the savior of Azeroth. Those that perhaps wish that they had done a different story with Illidan, or perhaps a better story with him than what they did during the Burning Crusade, they might get their wish.
Will we ever see a redemption or resurrecting of Illidan Stormrage as a character with Malfurion and that whole storyline?
Boy, do I want to do that. I think that'd be badass. I don't think anyone at all has even suggested it or talked about it. Not to my knowledge. But I love that shit. I'm a sucker for a good redemption story, so... StarCraft.
Is Illidan still at the top of Black Temple?
You want them back, don't you?
Could we? Could we just bring them all back? Chris, is that cool?
I wouldn't say all. Actually, we're just in a panel for the broad WoW Q&A, and someone brought up, you ever going to bring Illidan back? And so we just kind of asked, do you guys think we should bring Illidan back? Based on that response, I think it's likely. We'll have to figure it out.
And that redemption, resurrection arc, it came with the expansion Legion, as well as a novel dedicated to Illidan. It's set up in such a way that while he's still the enemy that we fought during the Burning Crusade, he is still the same one who had his allies hoard all the water and cause suffering across the planet. It's been added that all of that was not his main goal. His main focus, since the War of the Ancients, learning about Sargeras and the Burning Legion, that has been to destroy them, no matter the price, no matter what it took. Even back then, he created another Well of Eternity, knowing full well that we were going to need its power if we had any hope of guarding ourselves against the demonic onslaughts. They'd imprison him for his actions, for life, which, considering Nosdormu granted him immortality, it was quite a vindictive punishment. Even the sweet release of death was taken away from him. Magical enchantments, keeping him locked up, kept him alive without the need for water or food, healing any harm that he might inflict on himself. Millennia in darkness, buried alive, forgotten about, until his warnings came true. Until the Legion did return and Tyrande set him free, not out of regret, not out of guilt, but to simply use him, use his aid, and the worst of it all was that he would give it to her.
After all these ages spent in darkness, your voice is like the pure light of the moon upon my mind.
After doing whatever it took to get the job done, he ended up on Outland, preparing his true war while not knowing who to trust. In preparation, he trained brand new forces, Night Elf and Blood Elf demon hunters, whose transformations were a bit different than his. They weren't directly empowered by Sargeras after all, so Illidan, he had them go through rituals and trials to recreate his experience. They devoured demons, constantly struggled to maintain their sanity and control, witnessed visions of the Legion's might, the same things their lord had seen. It caused them to rip out their own eyes. All of it, until only a few survived the trials. They became his mighty Illidari demon hunters.
My Illidari. Now, you are prepared.
With his new forces gathered, they set out on a mission of locating and building a path into the Legion's home base. They invaded Nafreza, homeworld of the Nafrezim, where his forces performed even better than Illidan could have imagined. Amidst the records of the Dreadlords, he found what he needed. The Seal of Argus, a compass of sorts, which would allow him to find the planet of Argus in the great dark beyond. He left the Dreadlords with a little gift, blowing up the portal they had used to invade the world, with all its magical backlash aimed at Nafreza. If his calculations have been correct, that should have caused similar damage as when Ner'zhul opened up all those portals and turned Draenor into Outland. Being able to find Argus was great and all, but he would have to gather enough power for a portal and set up some anchors. Within Auchindoun, he could find this power source, the souls of the Draenei, but this is where our Lord Illidan made a couple of mistakes. Going for the holy burial ground of the Draenei, it was a step too far for the broken Akama, pushing him to defy the Lord of Outlands with Maiev, despite having his soul separated before in punishment. And Illidan also made the choice not to bring his demon hunters into Auchindoun, deciding to only go with his fell orc bodyguards, wanting to reserve the power of his Illidari for this final confrontation, not understanding the very real danger that awaited him within the city of the dead. Necromancers, walking dead, and spirits fell upon the fell orcs, who one by one dropped dead to the ground. Illidan barely managed to get out of there with his failed urn, which had taken even a bit of his own spirits. This would weaken him even weeks later, days before heroes of Azeroth would assault the Black Temple and bring the Lord of Outland low. That's right, we fought Illidan in the midst of his plans while being depowered. You could wonder, why wasn't he just honest about his intentions? Why didn't he just tell us what he was really trying to do? But part of that is just his character, and part of it is not knowing who you can trust. Kil'jaeden is not called to deceive without reason. Dreadlords have infiltrated, manipulated countless civilizations. He had to keep his cards close to his chest. And so, while the world played right into Kil'jaeden's hands, rose up to take care of the so-called betrayer, Illidan focused his attentions on the true battle. With the seal of Argus, he located their home base, set up anchors, which would allow him to forge that portal. But there was another force keeping a close eye on his actions, an Eldenaru, who had foreseen a great destiny for our Illidan Stormrage.
This was the being that had saved him earlier, and Illidan asked him why he was serving Kil'jaeden, what he was doing here. The Eldenaru informed him that he did quite the opposite. As all Naru do, he worked against the Legion, and he had waited for Illidan, for the universe to throw up a champion in the face of those who would destroy it. It could have perhaps have picked a better one. The words emerged from his mouth before he could stop them. I do not think so. You are what you are. All your days have forged you into that. A weapon aimed at the heart of a great demon. I would like to think I'm somewhat more sentient than my warglaives. That is what makes you dangerous. So the universe has anointed me to slay Kil'jaeden. His tone was sardonic, but hope flickered inside Illidan. Perhaps, if what this Naru said was true, there was some chance of victory after all. The swirl of lights indicated a negative. No. Your enemy is far greater than Kil'jaeden, greater even than Sargeras and his burning legion. Wonderful, Illidan said, as if they were not strong enough. The suspicion that this was all a subtle, mocking trap set by Kil'jaeden settled once more into his mind. If this was a trap, his struggle was ended. If it was not, then things were even worse than he had thought. The Void is a more potent foe by far than the Burning Legion. It is the ultimate opponent of light. It will take all the peoples of Azeroth and Outland united to oppose it. Before Illidan could defend himself in any way, a bolt of pure light blasted from the Naru. It struck his empty eye sockets and filled them with a golden glow. Illidan braced himself for a blast of agony that did not come. His vision shimmered and faded, and he found himself looking down on a terrible battlefield. Amid mountains of corpses, a winged figure battled at the head of the Legions of Light. A golden glow surrounded his warglaives. He cleft demons asunder with mighty blows. The soldiers surrounding him gazed up in awe and wonder at their leader. It took Illidan a moment to realize that this being's features were his own, transformed, his eyes glowing fiercely. As Illidan watched, the winged figure rose above the battle, defying gigantic entities of darkness, creations of the evil of the Void. A halo played around his head. His body began to glow brighter than the sun, and from his outstretched hands, rays of light emerged to strike down his foes. You will defy death, the Naru voice said as the vision faded. I have seen this. Whatever you were, whatever you are, a champion of light is what you will be. You will be a hero, said the Naru, but there will be a price. There always is. He had done it, set up a link between Outland and Argus. But time was running out, as Azeroth's so-called heroes and betrayers like Akama, old enemies like Maiev, stormed up to the top of the Black Temple to topple his leader. Illidan realized that he wasn't going to have enough time to finish his portal to Argus, but perhaps he could use that gathered power for a portal to somewhere else, send his demon hunters to the planet of Mardum to collect the Sargerite keystone.
With countless worlds burning in the Legion's wake, you answered the call. Yet these mortals in their ignorance have come to destroy their own salvation. Our time is short. I will deal with these intruders. You must venture to Mardum and retrieve the Sargerite keystone. Now go. But remember, should you fail, all worlds will burn.
The Sargerite keystone is described as a skeleton key to any and all Legion worlds, even Argus itself, which is being kept on Mardum. This is a prison world created by Sargeras when he was still the noble champion of the Pantheon, fighting his war against the demons of the universe. But he noticed something odd. He noticed how the demons kept coming back for more. Demons, which he didn't know at the time, they can only truly die within the Twisting Nether. or like massively fell-infused places like Argus. So to stop them from respawning, Sargeras decided that imprisonment was the way to go. Eventually, he would side with the plan of purging the universe and form his Burning Legion. Mardum was shattered, sending its fragments hurtling through the twisting nether. It's upon one of these fragments where we can find Brood Queen Terrana. She holds the Sargeras keystone, so that's our target that the demon hunters are hunting. Along the way, they summon in reinforcements through soul-powered gateways. Illidan's troops sent to help our mission instead of defend the Black Temple. One of the gateways refused to open up though, and is gonna require a little bit more juice. A demon hunter soul would do just the trick, and that's where we learn something interesting.
Interesting. Like me, you have an immortal demon soul. You cannot truly die. Instead, your soul will make its way to the twisting nether. There, you will wait until you can find a suitable body to inhabit. Now get back into your corpse while there is still time, and bring me the keystone.
We do just that, slaying any and all that stand in our way, while grabbing every opportunity we can to increase our power. Lord Illidan is going to be so proud. Let's quickly use the key and return to the temple, stop the invaders, and save the universe of the Legion.
Akama, your duplicity is hardly surprising. I should have slaughtered you and your malformed brethren long ago.
We've come to end your reign, Illidan. My people, and all of Outland, shall be free.
Boldly said, but I remain unconvinced.
The time has come. The moment is at hand.
You are not prepared. Come, my minions. Deal with this traitor as he deserves.
I'll deal with these mongrels. Strike now, friends. Strike at the betrayer.
Behold the power of the demon within! Is this it, mortals? Is this all the fury you can muster?
Their fury pales before mine, Illidan. We have some unsettled business between us.
Maiev, how is it even possible?
Ah, my long hunt is finally over. Today, justice will be done.
Maiev's time as Illidan's prisoner. Their role reversal was not a pleasant one. She'd been spat on, they piss in her food, but any real torture to thank her for her gentle care throughout all those millennia, Illidan never really found the time for it. And here, she's finally ending her long hunt. But as Illidan warned her, the huntress is nothing without the hunt, and Maiev's road from this point on would be quite the challenge.
Lord Illidan has fallen!
Illidari! Avenge the Master! You bear the mark of his corruption. And so the demon's blood within you will be your prison! Take them to the vault. There they shall be with the betrayer. Forever.
History did not change, of course, and Illidan Stormrage is still slain at the top of the Black Temple during the Burning Crusade. his final thoughts turning to his beloved Turon the Whisperwinds, while the world would be able to push back Kil'jaeden and another attempt at the Legion trying to claim Azeroth. Their true threat was still out there. Just as Illidan had promised us, just as Sargeras had shown him, just find the Legion on our world. It would lead us nowhere.
No matter how hard this world fights, it will fall.
Our eyes deceive us. The army that marches on Azeroth is but a whisper of the Legion's true strength. Beyond this army is another, and another, and another. Even if we defeat them here, it will mean nothing. We are doomed. Unless we find another way to fight them. And I will find that way.
Bit difficult when dead though, but just like his demon hunters, Illidan's soul went into the twisting nether, while his body was imprisoned within the vault of the Wardens. There it would remain until the Legion would come back. Illidan's warning proved true yet again. The Legion is relentless, unending, unyielding, return to take yet another bite out of Azeroth, with the biggest Legion invasion as of yet. Alternate Gul'dan, the one from alternate Warlords of Draenor, was sent over to our reality and time periods to do what his counterpart, our version, failed to do, remain loyal to the Legion and their promises of power. He manages to open up a massive gateway at the tomb of Sargeras, and then his next goal that waited within the vault of the Wardens, where Maiev has to make an extremely difficult choice.
The time has come, Cortana. Prove your loyalty.
Anu Dorini Tala.
The Legion has broken the seal! Quickly, sisters! Defend the vault! Lady Maiev, we need you!
There is something I must do first. Illidari, I've spent my entire life as Keeper of the Wicked. Thousands of years, my only solace, knowing the world is kept safe from your kind. But I would do anything to save Azeroth. Even if it means releasing you. Will you help us, Demon Hunter?
For the sake of the world, the Demon Hunters who had sacrificed everything are released by Maiev. But the Legion is not just causing random mayhem for the sake of it. They're here for one major thing.
Illidan Stormrage. At last, I meet the great betrayer.
So he is the key to Azeroth's downfall.
Soon. The body is cold, but his soul is not done fighting. We have work to do before he is ready.
Hurry then. The Wardens are coming with the Illidari in tow.
Ooh, they are desperate. Illidan, now you belong to the Legion.
His body is stolen by Gul'dan, who, as we learned from the Dungeon Journal, then takes it to the Blackrock Hold, where he conducts a ritual to sever Illidan's soul from his body. Again, he has that special immortal demonic kind of soul going on, which his demon hunters managed to make contact with.
There is little time. Listen closely. I entrusted the duplicitous Akama with planning the campaign against the Legion. He alone knows every detail. You will need his counsel if you are to succeed. You must also regain the Sargerite keystone to invade the Legion's worlds. Find out where the Wardens hid it away. We have attracted attention. I must move. You will not be able to contact me like this again. The Illidari are now yours.
The forces that Lord Illidan sent to Mardum reunite within their order hall. Their orders are clear, and as always, they do anything it takes to make the mission a success. They manage to reclaim the Sargeras keystone from the Wardens. In the meantime, we make contact with what we presume to be that being of light, which has promised Illidan his great destiny. Through Light's heart, presumed to be the heart of the Naru that spoke with Illidan about his destiny, we learn about the Army of the Light, which has fought against the Burning Legion for millennia now, but their 1,000 years war is reaching its peak. It is time for the child of shadow and light to fulfill his destiny.
Do not be alarmed, mortal. Your consciousness has been projected to my astral presence in the great dark beyond. I am Zira, one of the first Naru to be forged here during the great ordering of the cosmos. You have come to the crucible of all creation in search of answers. Listen then, and find enlightenment. In a time now long past, a great battle was fought that would determine the fate of all worlds. It was in that final battle that the all-powerful Titan Pantheon fell to one of their own, Sargeras. After the fall, none were left to oppose the will of Sargeras. Unfettered, the Dark Titan and his burning legion would go on to annihilate countless worlds in their burning crusade. From the ashes of those ravaged worlds, survivors arose to stand against the demons. They became known as the Army of the Light. But now, the Golden Army teeters upon the precipice of oblivion, as their campaign on Argus nears its terminus. Should they fall, the Legion will initiate a new burning crusade, and with it the cosmos will tremble. I am here now on a mission of desperation. I seek the child of light and shadow, the boy destined to end the age of demons. The one called Illidan Stormrage.
Before we can bring Illidan back, we must prepare the vessel for his return by going out and finding echoes of his past. It's Zera's retelling of Illidan's life, from the moment that he was born to the moment that he fell. What's interesting is that the Prime Naru does not do a 100% accurate retelling. Some critical moments are left out, like Illidan's hunger for power, his arrogance of thinking that he can do it all on his own, as well as moments that are described completely different than how they used to be, like respect between him and Broxigar.
Illidan's was a life full of potential. His destiny forged in the great ordering and cast to the cosmic winds, where at last it would find a home on Azeroth. Within the tiny vessel, the great cycle began anew. Few have known such failure and rejection. Most would have given up, but Illidan would continue on, guided by the unseen hand of fate. His destiny lay elsewhere. Difficult decisions had to be made, but to understand Illidan's perspective is essential if we are to succeed in our mission. What would you have done differently? With his eyes burned out for seeing the truth, Illidan still did not falter. Even under the gaze of the Lord of the Burning Legion, Illidan remained resolute and defiant. Tyrondo. The world is only as meaningful to us as the beings that inhabit it. Even in the end, Illidan saw her as clearly as the first time he laid eyes on her. He never lost sight of his world. You must ask yourself, how far will you go for yours?
It's up for debate if this is Blizzard trying to change Illidan's story and make it a little bit different. But personally, I prefer the explanation in which Zera willingly and knowingly is lying to us, hyping Illidan up with some minor tweaks to the visions so that we would be prepared. You see, it was not the vessel that needed to be ready. We, who dared to strike down this child of destiny, we were wrong in doing so. Now we know the so-called truth from the mouth and mind of Zeta. Now we are prepared to do what must be done to save our world and all the others. Time to bring back Illidan Stormrage, whose soul was plucked from the Nether, stolen and taken to the Underworld, a place known as Helheim. We craft a soul prism powerful enough to hold his boundless chaotic energies, at least long enough to transfer it into the piece of the Naru. Quick trip into Helheim, where we took care of business and we collected his soul. Khadgar is then given Light's heart with clear instructions. When Gul'dan attempts to tear the sky asunder and bring the Dark Titan into our world, call forth the power of this vessel and release Illidan's soul into his body.
No more distractions. I have work to do. Surrender. I may yet show mercy.
Keep pressing, Time to return the demon hunter's soul to his body, and deny the Legion's master a host.
I am Gul'dan. I am darkness incarnate. It cannot end like this.
You topple a pawn and presume to challenge its master? Such arrogance! Behold the shadow of what is to come. The endless darkness that shall consume your world. You are not prepared!
Instead of Illidan, we saw the demon within pop out of the crystal, and I don't think that we've ever had a clear answer as to what this demon within is supposed to be. Is it part of Sargeras' power that Gul'dan managed to transfer over already? Is it a remnant of the demon Azzinoth? Is it the demonic powers bestowed upon Illidan's soul when Sargeras empowered him? It's hard to say. By all means, if you know the clear answer, let me know. All the same, the demon within has to be vanquished in order for Illidan to return, so that is exactly what we do.
How is it even possible? You have seen what I have seen. You know what we face. Now, mortals, follow me into the abyss.
Sargeras won't have this body to host him, as the man, the myth, the legend has returned. And what an entrance. No time for pleasantries though, we have a legion to kick off our planets. So far, they've been pouring in through the portal at the tomb of Sargeras, and we've already been working on ways of sealing that portal again, with Illidan at our sides and the Order Halls united. Azeroth returned to the broken shore, where both factions suffer tremendous losses. While our forces fight off the fell army directly, we join Illidan and Maiev as a small strike force into the upper chambers of the tomb.
Azeroth will
Illidan,
surely fall.
Convey the Aegis of Agramar to the cathedral. I will descend into the tomb with Khadgar and hunt the monster down. Kil'jaeden's reign of destruction will soon be ended.
You are too quick to trust Illidan, Prophet. I will ensure he fulfills his duty.
Right. We have our orders. Good luck.
Our forces have engaged the Legion on the ground floor. We must place the Aegis in the tower before our losses grow insurmountable.
Ah, our guests of honor have finally arrived. I look forward to ripping those horns from your skull, betrayer!
There is nowhere you can flee that I cannot reach you, demon!
Illidan! Curse that impetuous demon hunter! Did you really think you could elude me, Illidan? Run again, and I'll shackle you like the beast you are!
Posture if you must, my Ev. But for now, do what you do best and follow me.
We've lost. The Legion broke our lines. They pushed us out of the tomb. You're all that stands between them and the Aegis. They are coming!
Let them come. My Ev and I will hold them on the stairs below.
Forgive me if my glaive finds your heart, Illidan. With so many demons about, it's hard to distinguish you from the rest of this filth.
Despite all their banter, we do manage to complete our mission and place the first pillar of creation, activating some of the wards left behind by the Guardian Aegwin. You might recall that this is not exactly Illidan and Mayev's first adventure into the tomb, but this time he's not searching for the Eye of Sargeras, nor is he trying to put him back into his cage. This time, we're united against the demons, fighting away through some of their most powerful forces. Night Elf spirits of the past, Naga, and even the locked-away Avatar of Sargeras. Azeroth has done it once again. The Legion has been defeated, and we could just seal off the portal and call it a day. But that would just delay the inevitable.
Emptiness. Still you fight us. Still you deny the inevitable. Your incessant resistance is maddening. Why will you not yield?
Have your countless defeats taught you nothing, deceiver?
The vision Sargeras showed you was a lie, Kil'jaeden. Surrender! Let it end!
Never! Our crusade will never yield! Savor your shallow victory. We will return, again and again, however long it takes, until at last we break you!
The portal is closing! We can seal the Legion's gateway and end this invasion! No! No more running! No more hiding! I must finish this! Velen! Stop!
Sealing the portal buys us nothing, Archmage. Whether it takes a few years or millennia, the Legion will return. Over and over again, until too few of us remain to fight them. It is time to seize our fate. We must use the portal and follow the Deceiver into the abyss. It is the only way.
I agree. It is the only way. Go, champions. We have precious little time to save Velen and return before the portal closes.
Come. If we are to die in the Nether, we will take the Deceiver with us.
From our feet firmly on Azeroth to cruising through the twisting Nether. How far we've come. How far Illidan has come to now go toe-to-toe with Kil'jaeden and his forces. Throughout the battle, the Deceiver will gather the shadows around him and apply his veil. From the choking darkness, several shadow souls come at us, which would spell our doom, was it not for Illidan sharing his sightless gaze. None can escape it, even if it does come with the price of overwhelming fell power coursing through our bodies. A small price to pay to lift the darkness and slay the Deceiver.
Somehow you survive destruction! No matter. Look upon our wonders, you mortals, and despair. Behold the world that shall be your tomb!
Argus!
Give in!
I love it, oh my.
Let it take you!
What have they done to you?
Our fates are now one. Argus will be your tomb.
At least we will have died fighting.
Our war isn't over yet. Not while we hold the key to all worlds. Marika! Take us home!
I was always envious of you. Your gift, your faith, your vision. I never believed that Sargeras could be stopped. Perhaps you will prove me wrong.
Everyone, get ready!
Is everyone all right?
What have you done? Sometimes the hand of fate must be forced.
The Sargerite keystone opens up a rift between Azeroth and Argus, which makes Illidan's dreams come true. After all, he worked really hard on setting up a link between Outland and Argus. Now he has a direct connection right here from Azeroth. Just one teeny tiny little problem. We only just managed to seal off a tiny rift at the tomb. Now we're right next to the Legion's homeworlds. Illidan has given Sargeras what he wanted all along. Oh well, let's do what we do best and follow his lead. Now, not just our demon hunter has reasons to want to take the fight to Argus. Velen and the Draenei are also very invested.
I've never seen the Draenei assemble a force of this magnitude.
Argus is our ancestral home. We will not see it in the Legion's hands any longer.
Then my parents can finally return
Fellow Draenei, champions of Azeroth, the time has come to invade Argus. We will save our world and put a stop to the Burning Legion, once and for all.
The Legion grows desperate. We should strike now, while their attention remains focused on Azeroth.
You are right, Illidan. This may be our best chance to gain the upper hand.
All forces are on board and accounted for. The Vindicar will be ready to depart shortly.
After we reach Argus, we will meet with the Army of the Light and begin our invasion.
Does he understand what you're truly asking of him? Do any of them?
We follow the path of the light, no matter where it leads.
Your faith has always been your weakness. When your closest allies fell to darkness, you didn't stop them. When the Legion swept over your world and took your people, you didn't make a stand. All you did was watch, convinced you were following the Light's will. The truth is, you failed your people. Their blood is on your hands.
You will never understand what I did to save my people.
The Light is holding you back. It's time to forge your own path.
Prophet, we are ready.
Proceed.
is your army of the light?
The Zenadar. Something is wrong.
The cowards have come out of hiding. Bring them down!
The Legion will fire again soon! What are your orders, Prophet?
We make our stand. The last battle for Argus has begun.
Despite being promised that heroic destiny by the light, Illidan doesn't put a whole lot of weight into prophecy or the powers that Velen follows. The Army of the Light does show up though, but they are under attack. And we don't want to be blown out of the sky either, so time to get to business. Wipe out Legion forces, make some new allies, destroy their siege weaponry, set up some teleports, and reunite with long-lost heroes like Illyria, like Trevelyan. Once the area is secure, once the Zenadar is ours, the Child of Light and Shadow is finally brought before the Light Mother. All is as it should be. Let's get this prophecy going.
Blessed to be in your presence once more, Zira.
Turalian, you have found the Chosen One. Illidan, from birth, the light in your eyes held such promise for the future.
I sacrificed that birthright long ago.
Do you not wish to reclaim what was lost? To be whole again?
The Legion's end is all I seek.
My child, you've given so much for so little. Your true potential, your redemption, lies before you. Let go of your shattered form and embrace the light's power.
I've traded my freedom for power before.
The prophecy must be fulfilled. Your old life has passed. The light will forge you a new one.
It is not yours to take.
The light will heal your scars.
I am my scars.
The light is your destiny.
My destiny is my own! You've doomed us all, betrayer! Your faith has blinded you. There can be no chosen one. Only we can save ourselves.
The light, Zera, refused to take no for an answer. blindly staring at the destiny foreseen for our boy Illidan, and he in turn refused to give up his sacrifices, his scars, all that made him who he is. While Trevelyan, like Zera, is in pieces, and even Valen's faith is a little bit shaken, we still have a legion to conquer.
The light does not die with the Prime Naru. It shines within each of us. We still have our purpose. We still have a world to save. We must press on.
You are right, Prophet. The mission still stands.
We'd spend our time building up our forces, claim more of Argus, and empower our ship until you're ready to assault on Taurus the Burning Throne. We have learned that Sargeras has claimed the Titan soul of Argus and has been using its power to, presumably, speed up the resurrection of his demonic forces. Taking out Argus is the key to taking out the Legion, but he's not the only Titan spirit around. The Pantheon themselves, all except for Eonar, have been captured here, tortured by the Coven of Shivara, all with the goal of turning them into a dark Pantheon, corrupted and turned like Sargeras himself. With them at his sides, they would be unstoppable, so plenty of schemes and plots to stop, also taking down Sargeras' mightiest forces.
You did it! Agramar's essence is free! He can stand beside his brethren once more!
Our victories mean nothing. So long as Sargeras has the soul of Argus to fuel his infinite army, Azeroth remains in grave peril.
The Titans can sever that connection, but not here. They need to bring the soul of Argus to their place of power, the seat of the Pantheon.
The very cradle of creation.
Their final act will harness the last of Argus's power to imprison Sargeras once and for all. Heroes, I can signal the Titans to begin. Once they start their ritual, there's no turning back.
Time is not an ally, as when we look up at the sky, we can see that Sargeras himself is creeping ever closer to our little world, the so-called Final Titan, Azeroth. With the might of the Titans backing us up, we take on Argus itself. Finally, it is time for Illidan's hunt to end.
You have done well, mortals.
It is time.
We must gather our strength. Return home, children of Azeroth.
Illidan, we've done all we can.
Every choice, every sacrifice has led me to this moment. To face him once again.
You are not coming with us.
The hunter is nothing without the hunt. Did you not see this fate, Prophet?
Fate? Our survival was never in fate's hands. Light be with you, Illidan Stormrage.
Brother, your crusade is over!
ends Illidan's story for the moment. When looking up at the sky, we can still see that red star left behind. The last remnants of the rift opened with the Sargerite keystone. He is out there somewhere with the titans of the Pantheon, making sure that Sargeras doesn't escape. How proud Maiev must be, and I gotta say, going back into the archives and rewatching the story of Legion, what an absolute treat. What an expansion did they put down. Not just for the story of Illidan, of course, but keep in mind that once upon a time, like going back to where this update started, all we have with Illidan was that he was dead and a whole bunch of speculation. They built up brand new lore and story for that requested redemption arc, and an arc in which they didn't completely change or alter who he was or the choices that he made. There was definitely a reaction within the community when the Illidan novel came out and this prophecy was laid out. Illidan turned into a holier-than-thou creature flying over the battlefield. Would it still be the Illidan that we requested to get back? And then they took that expectation and they turned it into their favor, into one of the most badass cutscenes that we've had, in which Illidan refuses this change, this forced destiny, and says, you know what, we'll do it ourselves. And so we did. A lot of wondered, what's up with Illidan now, what is he doing, and we can only speculate. We know that the Burning Legion has been defeated, but that doesn't mean the end of demons in general. They existed before Sargeras formed this legion, and so they will exist even after. We've also learned that the Dreadlords originate from the Shadowlands, sired by Denethrius, so if anyone could reform something like the Legion, I'd imagine that someone like Denethrius would be a fantastic choice. I would love to see him come back into the storyline, so something like that might work. Then again, the demon hunters that we still have on Azeroth, they still fight in the defense of the world, so we don't necessarily need demons for Illidan to fight. While editing the video, I also considered the idea of them going back to the prophecy for Illidan. In the past, I always figured that part of the moral of the story of Legion, that was to not put that much weight into prophecy or destiny. Mortals make their own choices after all, carve out their own path. But then we got lore from like the Shadowlands. We know that they're going to return to the battle of light versus void, light versus darkness. Anduin will have a part to play, who in turn has a prophecy, a potential future from the comics. Is it really impossible to imagine them turning Illidan into the prophesized child of shadow and light? And if they do, how is the audience going to react? His redemption arc, what they built up with Legion, in my opinion, it was done precisely and with care. With some additional motivation that's been added to his actions, the baseline character is still in there. He's still snarky, arrogant, willing to do whatever it takes. It is still the character Illidan Stormrage that we've known throughout, except there's now more depth and motivation. Not to mention that turnaround with I am my scars and my destiny is my own. Could they maintain who he is, while still turning him into this holy being of light, fighting against a true threat, against the true darkness? Wouldn't that devalue the cutscene we've had in the past? Maybe, but it would definitely require delicacy and build-up to not lose what is loved about him. Time will tell, I suppose. I'm honestly curious what you think. Personally, I would say, nah, I like Illidan the way that he is right now. I really like him rejecting Zera and the Naru. But then again, with proper storyline, with storytelling, like, the sky's the limit, right? The story is unwritten. They can do whatever they can. Perhaps there is a potential storyline, a potential future of a holy Illidan flying above the battleground. But honestly, I'm curious. What do you think? Then for Sargeras, the whole reason that he formed this Burning Legion and came after Azeroth time and time again, as we know it right now, that was to prevent her corruption. The Dreadlords had told him what they had learned from the old gods, and that fear of this corrupted titan, it pushed him into his burning crusade, the need to destroy Azeroth before she would be fully taken by the Void and would devour all of creation, disregarding changes to the motivation, which they can do at any time. Right now, there isn't a whole lot left for Sargeras to fear. Azeroth is supposedly the final titan, and she's been cleansed of the old gods. His reason to fear is gone now, so could we see the return of the Pantheon's mightiest champion? Could Illidan help him in some kind of cleansing redemption arc? We do know that revelations towards the titans, their true goals with Azeroth, and their return are on the horizon. And I would imagine that if the titans are making a return, Illidan himself would be coming with them. Perhaps when he does come back, he could finally have a proper conversation with his brother Malfurion and his beloved Tyrande, as during the Legion arc, there apparently was no time for this, to sit down and have a chat. All we had were these final goodbyes. messages that we were asked to pass on, which I'll end the video with. So for now, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Hope you liked the update on Illidan. Let me know if you want to see any others. Subscribe if you like my videos. And until next time, see ya!
The moment that the way to Argus opened, the instant my gaze fell upon the Legion's homeworld, I knew I would not be returning from it. I will face my destiny, whatever it may hold. Yet, I have left certain matters unsettled, old wounds that I would see mended. This crystal bears 2 messages. One is for my brother Malfurion, the other for Tyrande. I am trusting you to deliver them on my behalf, champion. When they have heard my words, leave the crystal atop Mount Hyjal, upon the shores of the Well of Eternity. You have witnessed echoes of my past, hero. I ask your help to put these final matters to rest.
The soul of our world is in agony. The crystal. It rings out with a familiar voice.
Malfurion, even in the womb we grappled with one another. Struggle has followed us all our lives. The teachings of Cenarius were always your path. I felt another calling. It was power I sought, but not to conquer or rule. It was a means to an end, to save Azeroth from an unstoppable foe. You never trusted my intentions, though I suppose I did not make it easy for you. But now, as my fate becomes clear, I wish to quiet the strife that has long divided us. Even when the Legion is gone, new threats will arise. There is no one I trust to face them, more than you, brother. You have spent a lifetime fighting for the dream of what Azeroth could be. Now you must fight for what it is. Take care of Tyrande. Listen to her counsel. She was always the best of us. The road ahead will be long. Whatever comes, bring honor to the name Stormrage.
My brother made selfish choices, caused pain to so many. His transgressions are difficult to forgive. And yet, there were times when we fought for a common cause, a shared purpose. Those were good days. But now is not the time to ponder personal regrets. We must see to healing the world, champion.
In my lifetime, I have twice witnessed a sundering of the world. Mother Moon, I pray I do not see a third. I sense a sorcerer's touch upon this crystal.
Tyrande, long ago, you trusted me enough to defy Malfurion's wishes and free me from my prison. But over time, that faith was lost. And like my brother, you came to believe that the choices I made had driven me to darkness. Know that every path I took led toward a single purpose, saving our world. I could abide no half measures, no compromise. At those times when I faced doubt, I held true to one constant, one anchor. You. You have always embodied the best of Azeroth, Tyrande. Your faith, your devotion. Through the darkest times, my belief in you never wavered. My fate, my duty, are now clear to me. I leave Azeroth's defense to you and to my brother. Take care of him, Tyrande. Though at times I wished your heart had made a different choice. In the end, I know it made the right one.
Contrite words. Yet I must wonder whether he truly meant them. After Illidan faced defeat atop the Black Temple, I tried to let go of my feelings, my distrust and bitterness. When I learned that he was alive, leading the fight against the Legion on the Broken Shore, I could not bring myself to speak to him. The time for talk has passed. Seems he has a duty to fulfill. As do we. Let us be about it, champion.
The well of eternity. I am not one for sentiment, but if anything embodies my commitment to Azeroth, it is the font of power I created so long ago. But enough dwelling on the past. The crystal I left for you to find holds not 2 messages, but 3. The last is for you, champion. You have proven your commitment to Azeroth. Your dedication, your sacrifice, rivals my own. But more will be asked of you. So much more. Even now enemies gather, and the shadows grow darker. From this day forward, the defense of our world, of all we hold dear, rests with you.